around 3 years. Yes, after around 3 years, then I gathered courage and asked my mom, oh, where my father could have been. But then my mom gave me a very bad excuse, and she told me that all happened. All that happened is that she got into a union with a friend whom she didn't even know their home, and she couldn't even tell the whereabouts of that particular friend. So out of that union with the person that she didn't know, I married. Then I left it that way. Now coming back to where I grew up, from the early years of 8 till just the other day, I wouldn't really say that Missile was a bad person. In fact, even though my going to school was sketchy and it was disjointed, a lot of issues here and there, the gentleman was really a good person. So the only problem is that the home was polygamous, and the boys were there, and I was already marked that you don't belong here, or you are not one of us, and all that. So I found the environment around which I was living to be really, really, tough for me. And if you cannot talk of physical abuse, you cannot talk of psychological abuse, you cannot talk of, anything that is not designed to work well for a human being. I faced all that. The gentleman was good, really wanted good for me, but the brothers, the step brothers really had issues to do with my existence and my living there. Because I remember I'm one person who I joined secondary school without calling letter, and I missed term 1 of form 1. I only got there in the second term, and I very had issues. At one point, I was home, took 3 weeks at home, but just because of socks. And you come back and you find a lot of issues. I witnessed my mom being beaten, literally by a step brother, just because I was like, I don't know what they had in mind. So when we are talking about parental alienation, we are talking about something that is really there, has got effects on people, and the effects are long term. Those effects are not cosmetic, they're real, and they're hard to deal with. If we can work on a modality that can arrest the effects from the beginning, I think that will be very good and fine. But I wanted to look at a situation whereby a human being is made to, forgo all that he had hoped for, or come to realize that whatever he had hoped for is being twisted just because the parents disagreed. It is a matter of concern, and it should be told to everyone else that when a lady runs away with a child, then she calls that child my child, and hides the mere fact that it takes 2 people to bring a child into this particular world, then already an abuse has just begun. So as Carol Lorraine introduced it, it happens in 2 ways. One, that it takes a parent really to influence negatively the child towards the other parent by, talking about things that do not just favor that other parent that is being alienated. Or you can tell bad stories, bad experiences. Oh, your dad isn't doing this, or that person, that person will even kill you. Their people are this way, please don't do this. Or, he doesn't even help us, so you keep away, and all that. That is one way of doing it. Just bad mouthing the other guy so that a child takes a side that is not favorable to that parent that is being alienated. That is one. Two, a parent that has got high intentions or his intentions in hiding or alienating the other one can also hide each and every detail or facts or the mere fact that you exist against this particular child. So it happens in those are two ways that I think my little reading of it has told me. Because what happened with me, my mom never badmouthed the dad, but never at any one moment did my mom tell me anything about my dad. That wasn't there. I only realized that my dad died in the 2002, April. The same year I was running away from our home, away from this other home, and I was running to Nairobi, escaping the wrath of my brothers because they were turning physical like every day. So that very month and that very year, 2002 April, that is the year and the month that my dad died in Kakamega and was supposed to be brought and be buried in Seme. So I was just wondering if I'd known, then then I would have gone to the funeral, you know. So I saw it all. It is a very difficult thing to deal with. There are social effects that are hidden underneath. There are health effects, psychological issues that can be addressed. There are also legal matters that, as I had said, that can be intercepted from the very beginning. So that when you want to talk about a holistic development of a child, then there are processes and there are things that you have to look for and ensure that those the very things exist. That is when you'll now be able to talk of, you know, a child is growing holistically. Or when the idea of parental alienation emerges, and as we speak, there's a need for each and every person to come on board. There's a need even for the children's officers to come on board. They shouldn't just sit in the offices waiting to reconcile parents who are, you know, warring. I'm wondering, there's that thing that is it has been rendered irrelevant by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, but they still exist in the name of, you know, provincial administration. If we had a personnel who would be working with the provincial chief, assistant chief into their barazas and just talk about these issues that might arise. Please, it takes two people to bring a child into the world. So don't call a child your child. Reveal also the other end. Do not badmouth the other partner. Find a way through which you can work the things without really affecting the very interest, the very rights. Don't be abusive to this particular child, even though you people might not be living together. Now, when you talk of rigidity as a result of PA, when you talk of defiance as a result of PA, when you talk of depression as a result of PA, when you talk of even withdrawal or just unnecessary anger as a result of parental alienation. Now, those are things that, you know, a child picks as a result of the environment that he or she is being brought up in. Then those particular effects really work with him or her way into adulthood. And it will not be strange for this particular child, for example, me, to live a life that reflects that very abusive environment through which I was brought up. So you see, I was affected, then it comes about again to affect my child and my wife and the peace around me. Because actually, when you look at the social media, my Twitter and even Facebook, and whoever has not saved my number, if at all it is reflected in a WhatsApp group, there's a name that I use there called Ragwanda. Now, Ragwanda is a name that I was given in town. The name Ragwanda comes about due to the fact that I'm one person who will just tell you, as in defiance. I don't, we're just friends when you are doing a good thing. When you are doing a bad thing, then Ragwanda, you will go and record, we will just, we will be at odds. so, so then I'm realizing through my simple reading that that is defiance. Yeah, why do I stand against authorities and just, then I can do letters and walk my way and just be me. The only thing I wanted you to know that you're on the wrong, and please find a way of doing it right, because else, we are really at odds and all that. So time is running. It is 7:37, so that we also have the rest of us contributing or asking questions. But then the bottom line is that the parents need to be advised not to really or try and keep those particular children away from their parents. It takes two people to bring a child into this particular world. Let that child know where the dad is or where the mom is. Do not badmouth. But then legally, so that is the social bit of it. So that even the psychological issues are taken care of. But legally, I'm saying that there are some bits that need really to be strengthened, so that as we press, as we urge the children's department to act, as we urge the church to act, as we urge the families not to unnecessarily begin to dysfunction but then act, then we also have the legal remedies to some of these things, so that we walk and raise up a people in a society that is well knitted, and we have everyone else grow in an environment that is favorable to them. All these things you come across, ladies or men, single dads, and ladies, deadbeat dads, or ladies living alone, single parents. At the end of the day, it is a society that is not going to be really very straight. It needs two people to really bring up a child. That is when we are going to have a society that everyone else will be proud of, or will be proud to point at that this is where I'm coming from. I think I should give time also for the rest to, so that we converse. It's 7:40.
Thank you.
Back
Thank
to
you
you.
for that experience, Larry. But I may want to ask you a question. Have you ever discussed this with your mom and let her know how you feel about the situation whereby you're separated with your dad and never knew about him, only to come to know about him when he's dead? So it actually broken down your bonding with him. Have you ever talked to your mom about it? Have you forgiven him, and have you forgiven your step siblings?
It is not easy. It is not easy. Actually, truth be told, I'm always at loggerheads with my mom. We don't like each other. Though we do a lot together, I'm sick, my NHF, those things. I've arranged all those things and I take care of a few things. But we don't story. Yeah, we don't story because I've undergone a lot, and I see her as one who squarely contributed to all these things, because to me, she was selfish. And actually, even by her moving away from my dad, she was on the wrong. Then she kept me away from my dad. I had to forego a lot of things, proper schooling or straight upbringing. And she's there. The other day, I took a cousin of mine to her, and they storied, and my cousin was like, "Hey, Bana, I wonder how women were created. Women are just." He used a very bad word that I don't want to mention, but then he was surprised that my mom knew people back at home, and yet she had told me that she didn't even know the whereabouts of that guy, even their home, and the people she saw like 1983. There are people she could still remember their homes and how they were and their tabby and all that. So you see, so it's difficult to forgive. I know it's good to forgive, but some of these words are just religious. You say forgive and forget. They're just being religious. The truth is, there are things that you just reconcile with. But I don't know. I don't know what that forgiveness is.
It's a
But
process.
I do understand. I really understand her, and it is out of that particular understanding that we are supposed to sit down and talk about issues that we really must talk about.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is there anybody who has a question for Lawi to ask? The floor is yours. Welcome, David. If there's anybody who has a question for Lawi, the floor is yours.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening to you.
I have a question to Lawi. Lawi, you said you are called Lawi or Dual. You changed your name to Lawi or Dual. How did you come to change your name? And where are you staying now? Did you go back to your father's home or you're still with your grandmother? And when you were, if at all you went to Sierra, how is the reception there? Are they accommodating? Are they taking you as one of them? Or what is the position?
Thank you for all the questions.
Thank you.
One, I'm sorry to say this. Of all our siblings, I was the most disciplined. So when I got home, there's a meeting I was introduced, and the speaker was like, we don't know much. We don't know much about your background. It happens that in our home, Seme, there's a guy who's really stubborn, and that guy, my dad and his dad were brothers. So that one has necessitated some fear in them that could could a, could a stepbrother be like that other guy who would mess us about and just disturb people. So they were like, we need to welcome, please. You are one of us. You are our blood, but we welcome home, but we don't know about your background. But then you remember, Miss Solo really loved me because I was extremely disciplined, and even to date, I'm a very disciplined chap. So at home, I was welcomed. I've not undertaken any legal step of changing my name. So my name still remains Lawrence Omondi Misolo. And in fact, I will not erase the name Misolo from my certificate or even M-Pesa and any document. So a dual is just a name I began using last year. As in now I've traced my roots, and that is where it sprang from. So my dad was called Alfred Aduol, so I can use that name. But officially, my certificates, my documents, they remain with me solo, and I'll not change them. Or I live in Bondo. I live in a piece of land that I bought. I bought this piece of land for my mom when my mom was thrown out of home as a result of us being that we are not born there. So my mom again hooked up another relationship with some Z. So the land I bought for her remained for me. She said, no, just stay with it. Then I've also bought a piece of land down at home, Seme. Okay. So what I have here, I have one at home so that I don't want to bother them. Like they should think that I'm coming about to, scramble for land and all that. So I'm living in Bondo in my own home. I also have some piece of land down at home. I think your questions are answered, Anna. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anybody else with a question? Do you have anybody else with a question? Okay, Lawi, so how many of you are born? Your mom and the Seme guys. Do you have other siblings there?
No, just me.
Okay. Bose, I can see you have a question.
Actually, I don't have a question. I wanted to comment on something that I heard Lawi say. Hi, Lawi.
Hi, how are you, Bose?
How are you, man?
I'm okay.
Yeah, I heard you talk about forgiveness and finding it difficult to be able to forgive. Okay. I wouldn't want to reprimand you on that and ask you to forgive her, but I just wanted to bring to your attention the idea behind the forgiveness. It's not like you're forgiving her for her. You are forgiving her so that you get rid of the heavy burden on your shoulder, so that you throw it down, so that the weight remains with her. If one day she feels like she wants to forgive you, because at some given point, she probably also feels like you wronged her. You should forgive. That is usually what happens. So your forgiveness is more about you. So it is something that will not come instantly, but you will have to work through it over the years. It's gonna take you a long time, but you're gonna have to work through it. There are days you reminiscence those moments, painful moments, you shed tears, you cry over it, but you've got to work over it. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because things like bitterness and pain and anger can easily be stored in your genes, and it's very easy for you to pass them on to your children unaware. But when you clean up yourself and let them go, then the generation beyond you then starts enjoying the fullness of joy without unconscious pain. Because right now, as we are talking, there's a lot of pain stored in your unconscious mind that it needs a very small thing to trigger it, and you'll be in a lot of pain. And over a period of time, you'll work over that. And when you work over that, it is the next generation that you're helping. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bossy.
Wonderful.
We have somebody else with a question. I want to give a floor to somebody else with a question before I conclude. Is there anybody else with a question? Okay, thank you, Lavi, for sharing with us. I just want to take you through why.
Gladys is raising her hand.
Who?
Gladys raised her hand.
Oh, Gladys, welcome. Gladys, do you have a question? Hello, Gladys, do you have a question?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you. I don't have a question. I just want to echo what Bossy has said. Following a statement that Lawi made, which says, what affects a child will follow to the wife and children in life. And for me, I think, Lawi, by God's grace, you are where you are. And my prayer would be that you reconcile with your mommy so that, as Boss has said, you'll be able to now, like, whatever is in you doesn't follow your wife and your children in future. And forgiveness will help you to really have a change and a transformation in what you do. I guess you do realize that we are not really insisting on it, but I guess it will be a good thing for you to do so that, again, you don't pass that kind of what has happened to you, to your children, and that will be a great thing for you to do.
Thank you. Gladys. Thank you so much. Okay, the reason why, again, I just want to echo what Gladys and Bossy have said, is that children who grow in such kind of a relationship might have trouble trusting others, might have trouble with low self-esteem, might have difficulty sustaining intimate relationship, experience shame for hurting and rejecting parents, might suffer depression, might engage in substance abuse, might also likely to experience divorce, and are likely to have problems with authority and law, like we just mentioned probably. And lastly, the person like you might also experience the loss of their own children through parental alienation. So for you to forgive, it means that it prevents you from going through all those stuff mentioned, so that you do not end up in the same situation whereby you are also alienated from your children in future. So yes, like Gladys have said, we are not pushing it down your throat, but it is something that you might want to start walking the walk. It's baby step, and it takes time, but it's something that you really need to think about. Thank you.
Well put, Carol, and thank you very much, Bose and Gladys. Like the effects, the results you've just mentioned, I've struggled with quite a number of them. I've struggled with quite a number of them. In fact, even as I speak, I also have a child away. But the only thing that I've done all the things that I should do, and the things that even my dad should have done, why I read note that things were kept away from him, to correct, to remedy the situation. So forgiveness is good. It's even biblical. The only thing that I don't know, it cannot be an event. It is a process. So I want to walk through it. Like I said, at least these days we can sit down and discuss one or two things. I can eat her food. I used not to do that. We never discussed like a lot. We could meet along the way to town and tunapitiana too. But these days we are friends. So I'm looking forward to a situation whereby then we'll be talking about issues, and I want it to come like naturally. But I don't imagine her sitting with her like, "I've forgiven you." That will not. That is to me a little bit of cosmetic.
Right, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Anybody else before I give another point? Okay, great. So why alienation? Why would the child believe the alienating parent? Sometimes the child feels the need to protect a parent who is depressed, anxious, or needy, and this is usually the person who has the child. Sometimes the child wants to avoid anger or rejection of the alienating parent, and sometimes the child has a unresolved feeling about the rejected parent and the divorce. At this moment, you don't know what is happening, and so a child is really confused, and the person that the child has is the parent who is with the child at that moment. So it is usually very easy for this kind of a child to believe what they're being told and not to question, because you fear, at that moment you fear being rejected by the only parent that seems to be there, because you are told this other parent is not existing, it's not there, he doesn't like you, or is going to kill you. So you are scared because you don't want to go that parent that you are the targeted parent. So you remain with the one that is alienating you from the original parent, from the other parent. So sometimes it's usually very difficult to get it until you walk the walk. So I believe we might say all we want to say, but until you become an alienated child like Lawi, or until you become an alienated parent, that is when you can understand what really this alienation is. But I also want to believe that we are going to make noise about this. We are going to talk about this. We're going to do a lot of disclosure and closure so that we can see what the policy can be done on divorce and separation, and how the children can be able to bond with both parents without being supervised, or without being questioned why they are really bonding with the other parent. So thank you everybody for coming in. It is 6 minutes to time. I want to believe that next time when we come, we're going to invite other people, because we're going to have other guests. Maybe we're going to have another parent who is actually going through it right now, is not staying with the parent, with the children right now. Or we're going to invite a psychologist or a teacher who might be dealing with this kind of cases in schools and in their practice.
And 1 minute. Oh, Gladys is there again.
Gladys? Yes, Gladys.
I just want to appreciate what Lawi has done for his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as he has said, that is a good beginning, the fact that he's able to buy some land for her.
Yeah.
And I believe that that's a good beginning, Lawi. And as you desire to reconcile with mommy, it will be a great thing. Just wanted to echo that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Lawi, take us through as we finish. Lawi?
Thank you. Yes, somebody had asked,
Mm-hmm.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
Somebody had asked if at all we've talked with my mom about it. We have, and actually I felt a great sense of relief the first day she told me that, oh, you are right, you pressed home, things went like we never expected, and please just get home, get with those guys. I really felt some warmth within me, and kind of, that one really drew me closer to her as we move forward. I really believe that we need to see into it that we have people around us, our partners and even children, people who are well grown, well nurtured, and who are holistically, taken care of, such that it is not about just maybe my child going to school, to the top-notch school and studying, while there's something that is going to pin him or her down that will not make her fit well in the society.
Right.
When I discovered home, I came back and like announced it to everyone around me that, Buana, I belong there and all that. So that, the effects that they had put on me, that the very effects that were outweighing on me could be undone. I would say that kind of relief and acceptance should be, be made available to a child from the very onset, so that he or she lives openly with an open mindset, a free person. Because if you checked again the rights of human beings, PA is a sense of actually denying a child a lot of rights to protection, and you subject him or her to a lot of abuses and all that. When you are not accepted, you cannot even say a word to people that you are more exposed and even well socialized than, just because you are not, you don't belong there. It's really, it really despises a human being. It's really bad. Thank you.
I'm so sorry what you went through. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Good night. It is 8 o'clock. Let's go home. Let's go to do whatever we need to do in their houses as we say good night, and thank you for coming. I hope you're going to come next time again when you're invited. Thank you very much. Bye.
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 Bye bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Good
Bye
night
bye.
and God bless.
Thank you very much.
Some people are showing their faces for the first time now. It's okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much for everybody who came in.